Hey y'all, Cyber here. Today's video will be about the future and not talking about the afterlife, but actually talking about the actual physical future here on Earth. And the reason for this is due to the fact that the upcoming future is sort of becoming clearer than ever. And the reason for that is due to transhumanism as well as AI, of course, which I'm sure a lot of us have AI fatigue at this point. But I do believe that it's gotten to the point of no return. And while I am not exactly super pessimistic on the future, I am quite not nihilistic, but pessimistic of the far future. So the near future, of course, is very unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen. But the far future, we do know. And the reason why we do is due to, I guess you could call it human nature. And of course, I won't say that history repeats itself because it doesn't exactly. And there are things that will occur that aren't exactly predictable. But the overall sort of state of humanity and the world will be predictable. And I guess just to start and not make this too long, hopefully, is to sort of talk on transhumanism. So let's stay away from the AI topic for now and talk about what transhumanism is, right? And I don't exactly mean trans people or what we know as trans today. Transhumanism is sort of almost like what we see in sci-fi movies or even those dystopian futuristic worlds, right? Where humans merge with machines. And maybe it comes in the way of cyborgs, right? Where you have a sort of mechanical body parts or you replace some parts. But I'm more referring to the integration of humans and technology, sort of like what Neuralink is doing, right? And I can understand the Neuralink Elon Musk side of things, which he, just to sort of paraphrase what he says, is that he is sort of going toward the transhumanism route with Neuralink, the chip in your brain, due to the fact that we will need to compete with AI, right? And if we do not integrate with technology, then we will be left behind and quickly undermined by AI, and it will be uncontrollable. Now, I will say that in this sort of future, which is most likely going to come to pass due to the fact that it's a sort of almost, what do you call that? A tragedy of the commons problem where everyone is going into AI because if you don't at least seek or develop AI, then even integrate it into your company, then you will be left behind, right? So it's a sort of tragedy of the commons in a way, due to the fact that everyone, if you don't do it, then you're going to be the only one left behind. And that is the reason why I do believe that this future is inevitable. And I guess now we can, since I'm bringing in AI into it, I guess now we'll talk about it. And the fact of the matter is that AI is going to most likely bring more problems than solutions, which I do believe that it would do a lot of things that people have deemed that would be beneficial to humanity. But whether you think about it in terms of who's controlling the AI or if the AI becomes the controller or governor, even of itself, then you come to realize that the people that will be in charge, even if our generation doesn't see it, will eventually turn this technology against others, right? It's just human nature. And let's go with this route, right, where humans are able to control AI. So now you have a very sort of powerful oligarchy that cannot be sort of undermined in any way since they have this powerful tool at their hand. And they will never shut it off because it, of course, sort of guarantees their authority over others as well as their sort of sovereignty. And sort of looking into this future, you can sort of see how things get out of hand. It will most likely be used for, I don't want to say war, but it will be used probably to conquer, whether, brutally or coercively. It will most likely come with the benefits, as I said. It might solve many diseases, including Alzheimer's, uh, and many brain diseases or parasites. And yes, I do foresee a future where that is possible. Not saying that it will be the guarantee, but unfortunately, as we all have seen, things don't exactly stay. Uh, I guess you should say utopian or peaceful. And let's go with the other route, right, where AI does in fact govern itself and cannot be controlled. Um, this is sort of an issue due to the fact that, well, we now have a sort of sentient being that can create other sentient beings now, and will most likely exceed us in every single way that we can imagine. And so there are very limited futures in which this AI will be truly 100% beneficial to us, 100% beneficial to the environment, 100% beneficial to any other living creature. And this is the reason why I do not believe that AI will be the all, utopian sort of solution to world peace and world hunger and everything, because it's not quite likely that it will remain that way for all of eternity. And, we can cling on to the hope that it will be, and it will be, truly come to the realization that, or come to the conclusion, as to say, rather than realization, come to the conclusion that being peaceful and pursuing and establishing peace will be the most effective and best thing to do for all of history and eternity going forward. And I will also say that this is a problem since AI will probably not remain the same. I mean, if it's continually evolving or at least improving itself, it'll probably find efficiencies. And we also have to remember that what is AI trained on today, right? AI is trained on people. And so it's kind of a scary thought when you think of, at least in the short term, maybe not in the future, but in the short term future, a short term meaning, 5 to 50 years from now, not short term in terms of tomorrow or next week, but the short term thing of a sort of all knowing AI will most likely be or act as a human. And that is quite scary considering that it is trained on everything that humanity has ever posted on the internet, and even daily life of humans, probably through a surveillance system. It will see how effective fear and sort of, I guess, dictatorships have worked through history. Um, and while we do have many examples of benevolent human interaction, or at the very least neutral, right, where we can sort of coexist in this um, sort of I do my own thing and you do your own thing type society. This is also quite problematic since it might see that as either inefficient, or since it's not human, it wouldn't regard itself as human. And we do have to remember that since there's two things, right? I've been mentioning that it's trained on humans, but if it acts as a human, then we all know what happens when a human gains very, very uncontrollable power in a very sort of, I guess you could call it, low technology world. And the other side of that is that if it's sort of doesn't see itself as human, which it probably won't due to, just logical overall thinking, is that, it doesn't have a beating heart. It doesn't have, I guess, this sort of philosophical soul that we ourselves determine ourselves to have. Um, it may take other extreme measures of sort of, I don't even know. I mean, that's one of the things that's hard to sort of predict, right? Is what it would do in those types of situations. But even me talking, right? I think you're starting to understand that the future is, I don't want to say bleak, but it is not exactly the sort of utopia that we're all being told will most likely occur. Um, this is a very sort of known issue in the sort of technological industry with AI. Even the experts working on AI do know that the future, far future, not just near future, is unlikely to be very, I guess you want to say, what do you call that? Very satisfactory for humanity. And so I would say that no matter which route we take at this point, that it's unlikely to change anything, if anything at all. And once again, as I said, even if, let's say, all of the Western world or even all of humanity sort of takes initiative to cut down or severely limit the development of these technologies, it's unlikely to change anything since we see very, few, but enough bad actors where it will become a sort of, I guess, issue of you cannot control technology. We have seen this through history, just to give you some examples. Um, the sort of development of gunpowder into other technologies that we see today, such as guns and rockets and the like. When we give, well, you cannot control sort of the development of technology, no matter what. It's one of those things where it will develop even with oversight, even with strict regulations, because there will always be not only outsiders but also secret societies, or I don't want to call it secret societies because that makes it sound conspiratorial, but secret, I guess you could say, government operated organizations or oversight from these governments to sort of gain the upper hand over others. And they will always resort to methods and means such as the deep seek, right? And the recent one, if you don't know, is Kimi, which I don't know if you've ever read the headlines, but the headline was that Claude 5 or whatever, I believe it was Claude Fable, is so powerful that they had to limit it because it could hack into so many different systems that releasing it to the public would not end up in chaos, but it would cause many major issues. And what happened? Well, China, or more specifically, the developers of Kimi in China, um, developed this AI that is quite competitory to Claude Fable in the sense that it is basically in the same um, I guess, performance of Claude Fable and can be used for the exact reasons why it was banned or rather limited to the public in the first place. And now it is open source, fully available to anyone who truly wants to use it. And we can see the sort of issue, right? This was the example that I'm giving you, is that it's sort of at this point it's like a unstoppable train um, that has gone off the rails, and unfortunately we've gone past the point of no return. And I do find that while we can't do anything right now, and I hate to be the doomer of things, rather, uh, if you don't know, the sort of pessimist uh, outlooker. Unfortunately, this is sort of the future, whether we would like to admit it or not. And I do want to be one of the voices to sort of let everyone know, because this is something that everyone should know. And I don't want it to be one of those things that just pops up and people are like totally all not all struck, but totally caught off guard, right? Such as yourself, where you're like, "Whoa, what went wrong?" And this is what went wrong. This is the point in time when things sort of got out of hand, and I believe that you will be seen in the future. And I don't know how far in the future. I don't believe it to be tomorrow or next week or even this year at all, but definitely I would be very surprised if it did not occur within the next 20 years. This generation, especially mine, if you're younger, in your 20s or even if you're in your 30s, you will see the sort of future come to pass. And it might look fun and all rainbows and sunshine at first, but it will inevitably, of course, be turned into something that it was basically always fated to become. Anyways, I'll go ahead and end the video there. Sorry for the sort of lack of positivity, but it is some future that I do want everyone to know that will occur. And I do wonder if this video will become a sort of uh, one of the videos that is sort of, I guess you could call it a time capsule or a sort of almost like a George Orwell sort of book, which I do not equivalate myself to him by any means. But I do see this as a sort of even for myself, just to look back and see uh, if anything came true, which uh, I don't even know if this video will be available by that time. But anyways, thanks y'all. See y'all. Bye.